Hi, how are you? I am very excited to give this webinar today because there is no doubt that artificial intelligence is going to influence our lives in many ways. And content creation is one of the key ones. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Eva Domínguez. I'm a former journalist and technologist, and I am the creative director of the creative studio Immersive Creatures, where we blend illustration and 3D to create compelling factual storytelling. I have both academical and professional background. I got my PhD in 2013 on the subject of immersive narratives. So I've been working in the intersection of communication and technology for almost 3 decades now, which is a long time. But I must say that the project I am most proud of is Nushu. Nushu was a series of adventures for children on international current affairs. Me and my team, I created a startup. We created 40 chapters of this series on all kind of topics. In each chapter, the adventures of the fictional characters took place in the context of something that was going on in our planet right at that moment. It could be the melting of the Arctic, the eruption of a volcano, elections, the war on Syria, you name it. We could also talk about how to solve a conflict, or how we could know how Caravaggio lived, or how plants talk to each other. We used comic and augmented reality, as you see, to engage children in the adventure of learning about the world. Each chapter contained this strip that was printed out, and then there was an interaction with the 3D main character. Was this extraterrestrial, very tiny, very it was very, very funny. And there was also an interaction with a game in 3D that was related to the subject that we were covering in that chapter. Unfortunately, I had to shut it down in 2020 during the lockdown, as many companies and startups. But it was a great learning experience, because it allowed me to put in place and apply and experiment a lot of what I thought and learned about immersive storytelling with my PhD and my previous career. So without further ado, let's start. Metaverse, okay? What is the concept of metaverse? As you know, it comes from science fiction, comes from a book of science fiction. But so this doesn't mean there was something new. When Mark Zuckerberg made it popular in 2021, as you see, only 1 year later, I had to shut my startup. I think for him, the metaverse was this idea of the future that his company was eager to build. And to me, that future is the three-dimensional internet. At that moment, the term metaverse overrode all of the other terms that were there before, like extended reality, multi-users environment, virtual reality, video games. You mentioned everything was metaverse at that moment. But for me, what is relevant is that this idea of the three-dimensionality is going to be applied in many ways that we cannot foresee right now. As you know, the presentation of Apple Vision Pro some days ago was another window, another possibility to this 3D internet. and we'll have more possibilities coming out. So right now, I think the metaverse concept or term is being deflated a little bit, the bubble that was created, but it's more adjusted to reality. That is that people adopt new technologies when they're useful and when they are convenient for them. Nevertheless, I must say that the term was very useful for everybody that was working in that field. Was like a campaign, a free campaign, a promotional campaign to make easier to explain what we were doing. But to me, the main feature, as I said, is this three-dimensionality. How is this three-dimensionality going to change the way we create stories? That is, for me, what I think is the most relevant thing. Why? Because until now, we were not able to experience the stories in a three-dimensional setting, in a three-dimensional way. Not by reading a book, not by watching a movie, not by even playing a video game. Of course, there has been many examples of putting the spectator in the middle of the story and making it part of the plot. But that was most the exception, not the rule. And this is because stories are always shaped by the possibilities of the technology that is being used at that moment. And we are always either constricted by the medium or empowered by the medium, by the channel, which is defined by the technology used. So we convey the stories with the means we have in every moment. And we engage the user in the story using what we have. And until now, we didn't have a three-dimensional way of experiencing stories. Of course, we have virtual reality, which is part of this three-dimensional world we are building. But it was the only technology. And now we are seeing more ways, more proposals, more technologies that are going to shape the internet of the future. So let's talk a little bit about immersiveness. You think a book is immersive? It's an immersive artifact. It can be. Some stories are not immersive. But reading a book can be a very immersive activity. Why? Because as the expert Richard Gary stated a long time ago, people reading a book are immersive in stories in two ways. There are two features or metaphors they talk about when they want to express how they felt so engaged in the story. And the first one is the journey. So we travel with our imagination when we are reading a book to a different world. We imagine it, we feel we are there, and we are so into this new universe of the story that we are almost forget about our real world. This is why he talks about the journey. It's a journey. It's a trip, mental trip we take. The second metaphor is performing. We participate in books in many ways, feeling emotions, projecting our own to the characters. This is a participation that is not physical, is mental, and is emotional. But we are participating somehow. So now imagine that instead of reading a book, we could move around a three-dimensional space where we could have a more experiential way of feeling transported to another place or participating in it. If you have experienced virtual reality, you have a version of these three-dimensional stories. But we can have many more. Because this metaverse we are building, this three-dimensional internet, is going to develop in ways we right now don't know, as we have seen with the announcement of Apple, and we'll see what is coming in the future. So with this 3D internet, these spatial stories are going to be more common because we are able to create spatial stories. Three-dimensionality is there. Spatial stories mean that we are in a setting in the story that we can move around and we can interact with it. And this means that for the first time, we have to consider the body of the user as an element, as a part embedded in the story. Therefore, we have to consider it when we are creating the screenplay, when we are writing our story, when we are conceptualizing or producing our story. So spatial stories entails that there is no fourth wall in our perception, as we are traditionally understood it. So this invisible wall between the user from the story, there is not there anymore. As I said, as a perception. We have the perception that there is not this fourth wall between the story and me. I am in the story. I am in the middle of the story. So this three-dimensional internet is going to be possible thanks to a lot of platforms and technologies. And as I said, it's going to be very experiential. We have to consider how people are going to move around, how they can interact. Mm-hmm. The technologies are going to be, of course, extended reality, mixed reality, virtual reality, augmented reality, but also others that I'll talk later. And in this blend of technologies, artificial intelligence is going to be very important. Why? Because artificial intelligence can help us to boost the capabilities of these immersive stories in a way that right now we are now just grasping. we are starting to imagine how powerful this can be. We are starting to see some of the possibilities. Is right now helping, of course, to unblock the creativity, do some research, pitch projects, and also in the production process. So new tools are coming every day, and we are seeing some examples of what people are doing with these technologies. I'm pretty sure many of you have already seen this video because it's very recent and it's going it's going to be very popular on Instagram. But imagine if to do this before augmented reality, you needed a whole team. You needed a lot of people working to create this quality and this to performing these kind of videos. So we are just now grasping, wow, this is amazing. We don't do this. Only a guy with artificial intelligence is being able to do this. So we can imagine that it's going to be a lot of fun. So sorry, I didn't say the author is Martin Herlin, and please follow it on Instagram because it's showing amazing things. I go back if you want to see again, the Instagram is there at MIHRLIN. Please follow it. It's really a source of inspiration. So how can artificial intelligence help create immersive stories? As I said, immersion is based on two features. So in the digital world, The first one is the sense of place. The first one is the spatial immersion. This idea of being transported to another world entails the setting of location where the story takes place. This can mean feeling virtually there with virtual reality, or transforming your own surrounding with mixed reality. But also can involve in other technologies or techniques such mapping or holograms. Immersion is a psychological activity that we enable in the user. It doesn't depend on technology, but of course is enhanced with technology. But technology by itself is not enabling storytelling immersion. We can have a sense of place, but once we are there, what, right? So there are many tricks or ways to foster this sense of place. So what is artificial intelligence helping us in this sense of place, quality of immersion? Well, we have so many tools. It's amazing. It's very hard to catch up, but creating digital assets is becoming faster and easier with all these tools. And there are tools for anything you can imagine. We can now create digital humans, walls, and objects. We can clone voices and create conversational based characters. We can turn a sketch into a 3D model. We can even type what we want, and it can become a 3D object. This doesn't always mean that we get what we want, of course, but it can it can also be a very fun way, an interesting way, and to get things that we didn't expect. But it's also it's not exactly what we expect, but we can be pushed by this. I will say outcomes that are not so expected. So there are tutorials for everything, everywhere, made by people who tried it before. So the knowledge is out there, and we are going to learn and share all the time. Novelties happen so fast with artificial intelligence that this is the way we're going to catch up all the time. We have to get used to this amateur way of learning, because there is no way we can learn new tools and saying new tools, applying new tools. We have just to be very aware there are new tools and find the ones that we need for our purpose, what we want to create, our script, our story, how I'm going to give a sense of a space in my story, what will be very interesting to make, and then look for the tool that is out there. And we try, make more mistakes, until we finally can do something that is close to what we wanted to do. We'll have, there are solutions to imagine and build three-dimensional settings. Artificial intelligence is a great enabler of the sense of space. This is a tool that is being used to help to create unblock creativity, but also can be used as a pre-production process in video games, but we can use it in many other ways. As you see, there are many tools that can help us to create these 3D settings. So all these tools can be used in the concept process or in the production phase, in the creation of spatial stories. The second quality, the second characteristic is the sense of agency. So to foster immersion in the story, as we said, we have the sense of place, and then the sense of agency. As video gamers well know, having an active role in the story is a hook for engagement. Interactivity and personalization can boost this engagement. And because when I, as a user, have a personalized story and a different interaction every time I enter the story, I feel this experience is unique to me. And this is where AI can really be a game changer, because AI can help to personalize the experience for each user according to the preferences, answers, and interaction. The sense of agency can be implemented in many ways, and it is not always necessary to be represented as an avatar, but there is no doubt that avatars play a big role in three-dimensional experiences. As an example, you may know that when you are in a game, you come across some characters that are not part of the game, right? They are there for the narrative. They are called non-playable characters for that reason. They are like these extra actors in a movie that are in the background, but they don't have a main role. Now with an artificial intelligence, they may have leading roles, because they can have personalized chats in real time with every player. So every player that is meeting this same character in real time is having a different conversation. And every time you come back to the game, this guy can remember who you are and can remember the conversation you had last time. Is learning from you, so it can take it from there. These are possibilities that are now real, and they are already being applied. This feature changes the narrative experience of the game, but it can be applied to many other purposes and fields. So it's good to see what the main industry of the video game is doing, and grab some of the ideas and apply it to other fields. And we can go further. We can also help. AI could also help to make possible that interactivity is based on your emotions, on your emotional response. With artificial intelligence, all this data, physical data, as our facial expressions, our the tracking of our gaze, can be interpreted, even our body language, and therefore it can be interpreted the mood we have, and the story could be adapting the plot to that. So if you are smiling, you may have one experience, one of the story, but if you are concerned, you may have another one, because with artificial intelligence we could do that. These are only some examples of how artificial intelligence is going to boost the development of the three-dimensional internet and the way we create stories. There is no doubt at all that artificial intelligence is an enabler of this kind of immersive stories. The AI tools and capabilities that it has will help to enhance the sense of presence, and is going to boost the agency in unprecedented ways, because it will help us to personalize the stories by means of the interaction with the content and characters, creating three-dimensional experiences, using extended reality, but also web-based experiences. We can use artificial intelligence in many ways, but my advice is that we use it for time saving in any task, for better selling ideas. It's great when you have a story you want to pitch, a project you want to pitch. Artificial intelligence is going to help us to present your ideas in a better way, so the person on the other side can understand better what you have in mind or what the final result can be. So even though the outcome won't be the same, it helps to shape in their minds the idea that you have. And by experience, to me, this is very important. It's difficult to make understand the other person what you have in mind when you are talking about technology. And then if you don't want to use references from other people, then it's not exactly what you want to do, right? Unblocking creativity. This we all know. We are using ChatGPT for so many things. We all know that it can help us to start when we are a little bit lost and we don't know where to start, right? Automation of tasks, pre-production process, as I said, production process, and to me, the most important thing that AI can do for us is help us to innovate in the storytelling formats, help us to create stories that right now we were not able to do. We are not able to do because AI is a new toy we have. And as I said, we can explore ways to interact, explore ways to boost immersion, explore ways to personalize stories that until now were not possible. So, in short, making stories that we couldn't do it because we had these technical constraints that AI is just breaking. This, of course, means that we need to learn a lot, and we need to be specific on how we use prompts. Right now, we are all learning how to talk to the machine so we can get exactly, or at least the most close version of what we have in mind. But also, artificial intelligence can be used to show to the world how talented you are. And I would like to give you the example of this YouTube user called Shamuk. I don't know if you know the story. Shamuk was creating deepfakes of movies as many other users do on YouTube. But what is not so common is that big studios get first aware, second impressed, and third interested. And that was the case with Shamuk, because he could do in 4 days a better job de-aging Luke Skywalker with artificial intelligence than Lucasfilm did with more traditional visual effects. So this is the comparison of how we can use artificial intelligence. On the left, you have the original, meaning the version of the Mandalorian series, and on the right, the Shamuk's work, what he did. And as you see, the Shamuk was even not only cheaper, but even better. So I wish you that you will be part of this new emerging talent that can use artificial intelligence wisely in the sake of better stories. So may the force be with you. Thank you very much. And I will be very, very glad to have a conversation with you if you if you are interested in this topic. I didn't make a very long presentation because I think the best is always the chat afterward. So questions? If there is no any question, I don't know if I'm not getting questions because I don't know where they are, or because nobody's interested. You don't have any curiosity. Have you tried any of these AI tools for production to create 3D assets, for example? The metaverse topic inside the master will learn how to extract data as emotions or interaction with the non-player. You mean in my subject we learn prompt skills? No, I'm not teaching prompt skills because this is something that you will. There are many tools that you learn from prompt skills. What we are seeing is how you are going to create immersive stories, and how you can use artificial intelligence to do so. We look for prompt skills, prompt resources, of course, but of course the class is not to learn from skills. We'll give resources for that. The idea of this, you can, yeah, thank you. The idea is that in these sessions you are not learning about AI because you are learning about AI in many other sessions. It's about immersive stories. So how are you going to create these immersive stories? It's about more these three-dimensional stories. How are you going to create it, and then how you apply AI that you already learning AI in many other prior to our course and to our sessions. How are you going to apply it? Okay. Thank you for your attention, and I hope to see you in. I don't know if you will meet each other in the Master in Creative Computing. Thank you very much. Bye.